Chapter 21 of Jin Ping Mei Chang's version of the embroidered portrait. Wu Yunyang sweeps the snow and cooks tea, and responds to the Earl's invitation to drink for flowers. The word sees, this word is like water. Wu Yun beats the snow, and his delicate hands break new oranges. The brocades are beginning to warm up, and the smoke from the beasts is constantly rising. They sit opposite each other and tune the sheng. I asked in a low voice who I was going to spend the night with. It was already 3 o'clock in the city. The horses are slippery and the frost is thick, so it is better to stay away until they can walk alone. It is said that Simon King returned home from the courtyard. The weather had already been updated. When he arrived at the front door of his house, the boy asked him to open the door. He got off his horse and walked on the scattered jade to the front of the Yi door at the back. Only the door was ajar, and there was no sound in the courtyard. Simon King thought to himself, there must be something fishy about this. So he stood in front of the pink wall inside the yamen and quietly listened. Xiao Yu came out and put a table under the corridor. It turned out that since Simon King turned against him, Wu Yunyang had fasted 3 times a month and burned incense every 7th day to pray for her husband to return to his heart soon. Simon King didn't know it yet. I saw Xiao Yu putting Bai Xiang on the table. After a while, Yunyang came out after getting dressed, filled the courtyard with incense sticks, and bowed deeply while looking at the sky. Zhu said, I am from the Wu family, and I am the wife of Simon, because my husband is nostalgic for fireworks. He has no children in his middle age. I have 6 wives and concubines, and they all have nowhere to go, and there is no one to visit the grave. I worry all night long, fearing that I will not have any children. I am entrusted by you. Therefore, I am determined to pray for the 3 lights under the stars and moon every night. I want to pray for my son-in-law to return to his heart soon, give up the prosperity and focus on family affairs. Regardless of the concubine and other 6 people, I will see the heir and his death soon. It is my concubine's original wish to plan for life. Exactly. The night air is clear when I leave my room privately, and there is a fragrant mist and snow in the courtyard. I pray to heaven and tell my heartfelt concerns, wandering endlessly alone. Simon King just refused to listen. After hearing what Yunyang said, he felt ashamed and said, it turns out that I have always wronged him. He said everything because of my heart, and we are a serious couple. He couldn't bear it. Zhu walked forward from the pink wall and hugged Yunyang. Yunyang didn't expect him to arrive in the heavy snow. She was startled and was about to push away to go into the house. Simon King hugged her in a pun and said, my sister, Simon King, don't even know that I am dead. You don't care, all your good intentions are for me. I have always made a mistake, and I have made your heart cold. It is too late to regret it now. Yunyang said, in the heavy snow, you walked out of the wrong door. You dare not be in this room. I am that unvirtuous whore. What do I have to do with you? What about you? Why do you want to deal with me for no reason? The 2 of us will never meet again for 1,000 years. Simon King dragged Yunyang into the room with one hand. In front of the lamp, I saw what he usually wears, a bright red silk jacket and a soft yellow skirt. He wears a sable and a rabbit on his head, and the golden pool is full of charming distractions, which makes him more and more obvious. That fist is made up of pink jade and carved with silver, and the servant girl Chu Xiu Yen is wearing a cicada bun. Then how can Simon King not love him? He quickly made a deep bow to Yunyang and said, I, Simon King, was ignorant for a moment, did not listen to your kind words, and let down your good intentions. It is because I have blind eyes that I cannot recognize Jingshan Jade, and I look at it like a stubborn stone. I will know later. Gentlemen, please forgive me, Yunyang said. I am not the person you love. Whenever I don't give you a chance, do you have any good advice? Just let me live in this room. And you can't. Pay attention to him. It's hard for me to accommodate you in this house. Come out with me as soon as possible, and I won't chase you away. Simon King said, I'm so angry today for nothing. I came home in the heavy snow and came here to tell you. You, mother said, don't tell me if you want to make me angry or not. I don't care about you. Just wait for the people who care about you. Simon King saw that Yunyang didn't look at her face, so he folded his legs to pretend to be a dwarf, knelt on the ground. and killed the chicken pulls the neck, and the elder sister in the mouth is long and the younger sister is short. Yunyang looked down upon her and said, "You are so cowardly. I'll ask the girl to come in." She called Xiao Yu. When Simon King saw Xiao Yu come in, he quickly stood up and had no idea how to send him out. He said, "It's snowing outside. Why don't you bring in the incense table?" Xiao Yu said, "The head of the incense table has already been taken in." Yunyang couldn't help but laugh and said, "You have no shame. I'm telling you a lie in front of you." Xiao Yu went out, and Simon King knelt down to greet her again. Yunyang said, "If you don't care about the world, it's better to ignore him for 100 years. After saying that, she sat down with him and taught him how to hold tea with him. Simon King invited the Earl to the Lee family's tea party today because of the tea party. Afterwards, Simon King told the Earl how to make a fuss. "Now I have made a vow not to set foot in the courtyard gate again." Yunyang said, "It's not up to me whether you kick me or not. You wrap him up with gold and silver. But if you don't go, do you know that he has picked up another man? It's a job to support a man's wife, but you can't tie him down. But you can't tie up his heart. What if you keep him sealed with an envelope?" "Yes," Simon King said. "You are right." So he sent the maid out, took off her clothes, and went to bed to have sex with Yunyang. Yunyang said, "I will teach you to get food when you get on the king. It is enough for you to be in my bed today. If you want to think about other things, you can't." Simon King revealed what he was saying and teased Yunyang. Said, "It's all because of you that he became speechless due to a stroke." He opened his eyes wide and was speechless. Yunyang scolded, "What a sweaty bastard. I can't even see with half my eyes." Simon King couldn't help but put the two white legs of Yunyang on his shoulders, inserted the words into the female's body, and let the orioles and butterflies pluck at them. Exactly hammock. The orioles are rushing on the crabbable branches, and the swallows are chattering frequently among the emerald beams. Unexpectedly, I feel a little more connected, and my love is not added. I spit out the musk orchid, and my lips are filled with the fragrance of fat. Simon King was so in love that he begged Yunyang to call her Dado in a low voice. Yunyang also looked at the pillow in a low voice. Her expression was still beautiful, and she kept calling for kisses. That night, the two of them fell asleep with their heads and necks crossed. Exactly, that chaotic couple has been in high spirits, but the love is strong and they are still tired of staying up all night. When I come late, I stand alone on the dressing table. There is no need to describe the faint spraying mountains. The couple had sex that night. However, in the early morning of the next day, Meng Yulu walked to Pan Jinlian's room. Before entering, he called out, "Sixth girl, have you gotten up?" Chen Mai said, "My mother has just gotten up to comb her hair." Sanyang went into the room and sat down. When Yulu came in, he saw the golden lotus combing the fragrant clouds in front of the dressing table. Yin said, "I have something to tell you." "Do you know?" Jinlian said, "I am carrying heresy here." "Who knows?" Yin asked. "What's the matter?" Yulu said, "His father came at the second watch last night. He went to the upper room, got married with the Wu family, and rested in his room for the night." Jinlian said, "How can we persuade you?" He said 100 or 200 years, but it was all in vain. "Is he feeling well again?" No one advised him. Yulu said, "I only found out this morning. My eldest girl, Lan Xiang, heard the servants in the kitchen saying that yesterday his father and Yinger had a drink at Li Geier's house in the courtyard, saw some flaw in the whore, and punched the walls of the door and window of the whore. She came home in the heavy snow, and when she entered the ceremony gate, she saw night incense burning in the upper room. She must have heard something, and the two of them just got together. He's dead. People like him have nothing to say. If it were someone else, they would somehow find love." Jin Liang continued, "I've been with someone for a long time, but I don't know how to get married. One person burns night incense. We should just pray silently, and someone will advocate it so that the man knows about it. No one persuades him, so he is getting along with the man secretly. It is better to be firm to the end, and to pretend to be clean." Yulu said, "It is not a fake divorce. He wants to make peace with his heart, but it's hard to say it out loud. He said that he is the eldest wife, and won't hold back on asking us to do our part. He is afraid that we will talk filthy words about him in the future, and dared to say that you and I have bad words. It's a good thing that we made peace. Now you and I will stop asking him to buy gore. You quickly comb your hair and go over to talk to Li Ping'er. Each of us will give 5 coins of silver and ask Li Ping'er to take out 1. The 2 came because it was because of his business. Today we have arranged a banquet. One of them will have a glass with him, and the 2 of them will just enjoy the snow and play for a day. Why not? Jinlian said. That's right. I wonder if his father is doing anything today. Yulu asked. What kind of activities are there in the heavy snow? When I came here, there was no movement between the couple. The door to the room was open and Xiao Yu went in with water. Jinlian combed his hair in a hurry. He and Yulu came to Li Ping'er aside. Li Ping'er was still asleep on the bed, and Yingxun said, Sanyang and Wu Niang are here. Yulu and Jinlian came in and said, Sister Li, you feel so comfortable. Now we are lazy dragons stretching their waists, Jinlian said to Shu Jin. He put his hand under the quilt and touched the silver fragrant ball on the quilt. He said, Sister Li has given birth to an egg. Then she opened the quilt and saw that he was all white. Li Ping'er hurriedly dressed. Yulu said, Fifth sister, stop fooling round with him. Sister Li, get up quickly. We have something to tell you. In this way, his father and eldest sister got married yesterday. We each have 5 coins, and you will have more money. It's because of you that I got up in the first place. In the heavy snow today, I just want to enjoy the snow. Let's arrange a banquet and invite his father and eldest sister to sit down. Okay. Li Ping'er said, I will teach you how much to pay. The slave has defecated. Jinlian said, you will only give out 1 or 2. You weigh it out, and I can go back and ask Li Zhaoer and Sun Zue to go. This Li Ping'er was dressing and binding his feet, and shouted, open the box in the spring and take out the money. I took a piece, and the gold lotus weighed 1, 2, 2, and 5 cents on the fine scale. Yulu asked Jinlian to accompany Li Ping'er to comb her hair. Wait while I go back, and ask Li Zhaoer and Sun Zue for some money. Jinlian watched Li Ping'er combing her hair and washing her face. After about an hour, Yulu came from behind and said, I'm sorry, I don't know how to make a living. Everyone's business seems to be in vain. The little horse said, I am a person who has no luck. If the man doesn't come into my room, how can I ask for money after begging for a long time? She only took out, here comes this silver hairpin. How much do you weigh it? Jinlian took the coins and weighed it. It only weighed 3 cents and 7 cents, because he asked, What's wrong with Li Zhaoer? Yulu said, Li Zhaoer just said no at first. Although the money is thrown into my hand day by day, it is all counted. How much money is paid? There is surplus money there. I said, you are the boss and you say you have no money, but we have some? What if I don't come to your door in June? It's our business. Just don't do anything about it. Teach me how to behave. When he came out, he panicked and asked the girl to call me back before he took out the silver with me. He made me so angry for no reason. Jinlian took Li Zhaoer's silver and weighed it. It was only 4 cents and 8 cents. Yin scolded. What a treacherous whore. Just ask me why. Even if I have a ghost tied up, I am still a few points short of others. Yulu said. His family only allows people like Huang Han to weigh people. When people asked him for it, it was just like beating a bone and making it bald. I don't know how many times he scolded him. On the one hand, Lian Yulu and Jinlian collected 3 taels of money together. On the other hand, Su Chun called Dian. Jinlian first asked him, You went with your father yesterday. Why did you come to Li's house in trouble? Diangxi left the tea party at Chang's house early and invited his second father, and Zi, to go to Li's house. The bastard replied that he was not at home and had gone to the 5th aunt's house to celebrate her birthday. I didn't want to lag behind my father in cleansing my hands. When I went to the back and saw Fan Tuan and the barbarian drinking wine, my father became angry. Without any reason, he asked all of us to beat the window wall of the adulterer's house as hard as we could. As long as Manzi and Fan Tudun were locked and the door go up, thanks to everyone's repeated persuasion. Dad asked Xing to ride home and get violent on the road. Tomorrow he will manipulate the whore. Jinlian said, Thief whore, I only think that the honeypot has been taken for many years. He's so tight. Why did he get beaten today? He asked Dan again. Is your father really saying that? Dan said, no one dares to coax my mother. Jin Liang said, he won't get rid of the root of the thief. Bukai is also your father's bitch. Are you allowed to scold him, thinking that we will do something to you? We can't help but say, Dad asked me to send money to Aunt Gui's house. Aunt Gui screams so sweetly. Now that he has fallen, your master is angry. And you even called him a whore. See if I tell your father tomorrow. Dan said, Yale, the sun is coming out in the west this time, and Wu Niang will start again. He came to protect his family again. Could it be that his father didn't call him a whore on the street? How dare you call him such a young one? Jin Liang said, your father only scolded him, but maybe you scolded him? Diane said, I had known Wen Yang. The imprisoned prisoner is young, and he will not tell Wu Niang. Yulu said, little prisoner, don't say anything. There are 3 liang and 1 penny here. You and Lakesinger go buy something for me. Today we are invite your father and aunt to enjoy the snow. You will leave us less, and I will teach you that Wu Niang will not sue your father. Diane said, Mom makes me young. How dare I leave money? So he took the silver. I went shopping with Lakesinger. Let's say that Simon got up and was dressing up in the upper room, in the heavy snow. Lakesing bought chicken, goose and rice, and went to the kitchen. Diane came in with another jar of Jinhua wine. Then he asked Yuxiao, where did the young man's things come from? Yuxiao replied, today, the ladies are buying wine and inviting parents to enjoy the snow. Simon King asked, where did the Jinhua wine come from? Diane said, it was bought by San Niang and Shao King. Simon King said, I saw one at home, so I went to buy it again. He told Diane, take the key. There is double jasmine wine in the front room. Bring 2 jars and mix this wine, drink and eat. So in the open room of the back hall, a brocade tent was set up to surround the screen. Plum blossom curtains were put down. Animal charcoal was placed in the stove, and a banquet was ranged. After a while, everything was sorted out. Li Jiar, Meng Yulu, Pan Jinlian, and Li Ping arrived and asked Simon King and Yun Yang to come out. At the moment, Li Jiao held the cup, Meng Yulu held the pot, Pan Jinlian held the dishes, and Li Ping knelt with him. They handed it to Simon King first. Simon King took the wine in his hand and said with a smile, my son, if you have a lot of motivation, please be filial to me. Pan Jinlian spoke quickly and interjected, what an old-fashioned boy. Who is here to kowtow for you? I kowtow to you. And you stand. The lamb's horns and green onions are against the south wall, getting more and more sophisticated. If it weren't for the eldest sister to lead you, would we kowtow to you today? He handed Simon King and poured another full cup. Please. Yun Yang turned it up and handed it to Yun Yang. Yun Yang said, you didn't tell me. Who would have thought that you would have bothered so much for nothing? Yulu smiled and said, it's nothing. We randomly put a glass of water and wine. It was snowing heavily, and we relaxed with your husband and wife. That's it. Sister, please sit down and accept the courtesy from us. Yun Yang refused. So Yiping returned the courtesy. Yulu said, if sister doesn't sit down, we won't get up either. After giving in for a long time, Yun Yang only accepted half of the courtesy. Jin Liang joked, I told my sister that today she has forgiven him in front of us. Next time if she is rude and bumps into her, we won't care. Wang Ximenxing said, you are just pretending to be stupid. I'm still sitting at the top. Why don't you come down quickly and pass the clock to your sister? Why don't you accompany me? Simon King laughed again. After a long time, after handing it over, Yun Yang turned down and ordered the jade flute to hold the pot. She also poured wine and returned to drink with the sisters. Only Sun Zui knelt down to receive the wine, while the others talked about their sisterly affection. So Simon King and Yun Yang took the upper seats, while the rest, Li Jiar, Meng Yulu, Pan Jinlian, Li Ping'er, Sun Zui and Simon eldest sister, all fought on both sides. Jin Liang said, Sisterly, you should give me a glass of wine. When I got up because of your incident, you became Lao Lin. Why are you so stupid? Then Li Ping'er just walked down. Come to the banquet and ask for wine. Simon King stopped him and said, Don't listen to that little whore. She's coaxing you. I've just handed you the wine once. How many times? Then Li Ping'er didn't move. At present, the 4 domestic musical instruments of Chunmai, Yingchun, Yuxiao and Langshang, Pipa, Zheng, Xianzi and Yukin, started playing and singing, and sang a set of Southern Pomegranate Flowers, Good Times Reunion. After Simon King heard this, he asked, who asked him to sing this set of words? Yuxiao said, it was Wu Niang who asked him to sing. Simon King looked at Pan Jinlian and said, you little slut. You are alone. It's all about the bald branches and the leaves, Jinlian said, who taught him to sing and he came. If he didn't, he came to pester me again. Yunyang said, why don't you invite brother-in-law Chen to come and sit down? She asked the boy to come forward. After a while, Jingji came, bowed to everyone at the table, and sat down under the eldest sister. Yunyang asked Xiao Yu to place the bell and chopsticks, and the whole family had a drink. Simon King glanced at the snow in front of the curtain, which was falling like pear blossoms and pear blossoms. It was falling heavily. It's really snowy. But see, it looks like catkins at first, and gradually looks like goose feathers. Swishing like crabs walking on the sand. They're like a pile of crabs in chaos. But his clothes were stained with 6 protrusions, and his temples were instantly covered with bees. Lining the Yao Terrace, it looks like a jade dragon dancing in the air with its armor turned over. The powder on its forehead looks like white crane feathers falling to the ground. It's exactly this. The jade building is frozen and millet grows in the cold. And the light shakes the silver sea and the candle grows flowers. Wu Yunyang saw that the snow was very thick on the Taihu rocks between the pink walls. Come down from the table and teach Xiao Yu to hold the teapot, sweep the snow by herself, and cook Zheng and Feng Duan Q tongue tea for everyone to eat. Exactly, the white jade pot is filled with blue waves, and the purple gold cup is filled with fragrance. In the middle of having tea, Diane came in and said, Li Ming is here, wait in front. Simon King said, teach him to come in. After a while, Li Ming came in, kowtowed to everyone, and walked beside. Simon King asked, where are you going? You came just in time, Li Ming said. The little one didn't go there. In the north, Mr. Liu, a drunken and jealous man, taught some children. The little one took a look. I remember my parents, sisters. There are still a few pieces of singing that are not in time, so come and serve. Simon King handed him the cup of osmanthus tea that he was eating. Said, you have a break, please sing a song for me to listen to. Li Ming said, I know, little one. After having some tea, he came up, tuned the strings of the zither, opened his throat, put his feet up, and sang a song. A set of winter Seneji Yangdu spring. After singing, Simon King ordered Li Ming to come forward, enjoy the wine and eat with him, and taught Xiao Yu to fill the pot and pour it into the silver enamel peach clock. Li Ming knelt on the ground and drank 3 cups. Simon King ordered for dishes to be placed on the table and held them with Li Ming on a plate. Then Li Ming went down to eat, wiped his mouth with silk, went up, and stood upright leaning against the pudding. Simon King Yen told what happened at Sister Gui's house yesterday. Li Ming said, the younger one doesn't know, and has never gone there, thinking about it. It's my third mother who does the business of Sister Gui. Dad, don't bother him. He can wait until the younger one sees him and tells him what to do. After drinking until the first watch that day, the wives and concubines were all happy. First, Chen Jingji and the eldest sister went forward. After arriving at the wine stall, Simon King rewarded Li Ming with wine and sent him out, saying, when you get there, don't talk about staying with me today. Li Ming said, Dad, I know. Simon King ordered him to go out, so the wives and concubines dispersed. Simon King was still in Yunyang's room having a rest. There is poetry to Pravit. There is no need to doubt the fate of Red Rope. It is up to husband and wife to share this love. From then on, the fish and water meet, and the two are willing to maintain harmony for 100 years. However, it was said that the next day it was snowy and Earl Ying and Zishi were so impressed by the Li family's roasted goose wine that they were afraid that Simon King would manipulate his family, so they came to invite Simon King to accompany them. Yunyang finished dressing up in the morning and was eating cakes with Simon King in the room. When Diane came in said, Yinger Daddy and Z Daddy are here. Simon King put down the cake and was about to walk forward. Yoon Young said, the two hookers are making ghosts. And they don't know what they are doing. You also went out to eat and told him to wait outside. Why did you walk out in such a panic that you seemed to be dead? You didn't know where the hookers were in the heavy snow. Simon King said, you asked the boy to bring the cake to the front. And he and I will eat it. After saying that, he got up and went out. Yoon Young ordered, you eat with him. Don't believe him and go there to seduce him. Today, third sister Meng is celebrating her birthday. Simon King said, I know. So he told Ying and Si they met each other and said, brother came to my house yesterday. We were very surprised and said to him, I used to spend money and things at your house. Even though I won't come for a while, don't change your tune. Okay, allow your fan to secretly pick up the barbarian behind his back. How can he not be annoyed when we meet on a narrow road and he saw it with his own eyes? Don't say that he is annoyed. We can't see it in our hearts. I tried my best to say a few words to his mother, and he was very bored. He invited the two of us home this morning, and the ladies were crying and kneeling. I'm afraid you might be tempted. So I bought a glass of water and wine. So I'd like to invite you in to keep me company. Simon King said, I don't either. I won't go in again. The Earl said, my anger is justified. But speaking of it, I have nothing to do with Sister Gui. This second official Ding was originally the lonely old man of his sister Gui King, and he never said that he wanted to invite Sister Gui. It only took him a few days to arrive because his father's cargo ship hitched a ride on Chen Jiansheng's ship in his hometown. Chen Jiansheng's number was Liang Huai, and he was the son of Chen Shenzheng. Official Ding took 10 taels of silver and served wine at his house. Chen Jiansheng, I just sent you this money. I didn't expect you and I to panic when we got to his house. I couldn't hide in time, so I hit the barbarian behind and you saw it. To tell the truth, I never got involved with Sister Gui. Today, his mother-in-law is gambling with her life. Curse, kowtow, and asked me to invite my brother to come there and express my grievances to him, which also relieves half of my anger. Simon King said, I have sworn to my wife that I will never do it again. If you don't go, why are you upset? You've gone to his house and you don't want to worry about it. I have some small things at home today, so I can't go. The panicked people knelt down together and said, brother, what are you talking about? You won't go without arguing. It's obvious that we can't invite brother to go. We don't have any respect. Just come and sit there for a while. The two of them immediately sued the emperor, and Simon King agreed. After a while, the table was set for two people to eat cakes. After eating for a while, he ordered Diane to get his clothes. Yoon Young was sitting with Meng Yulu and asked Diane, where is your father going? Diane said, I don't know. I just asked you to get clothes. Yoon Young scolded, you are a thief. You are a prisoner. You're hiding it from me. Today, your third wife is celebrating her birthday. Your father is late. So I will only beat you for being such a thief. Diane said, why do you care about the younger ones when you beat them up? Yoon Young said, somehow, I heard that every time he comes. He seems to be running for his life, eating food, leaving the rice bowl, and never leaving. I don't know how to seduce wandering souls and bump into corpses. We only come after bumping into many people. I have wine at home and are waiting. Question. Let's say that Simon King was invited to Lee's house by two people, and a banquet of wine and delicacies was placed in the morning hall, and two prostitutes were invited to play and sing. Sister Li Gui and Gui King were dressed up to greet him. The old godly woman came out and knelt to accompany him. The two sisters passed the wine. Earl Ying and Si Zida were joking and laughing nearby, and said to Sister Gui, it's a good thing that I shaved off half of the skin on my mouth and invited your man over. He didn't even pass me a glass of wine. Just a glass of wine. Give it to your man if he couldn't come with his pout just now. Don't say that you were blinded by crying and chanting the lyrics. Tomorrow, no one will want you, and I will be the only one who can talk. Sister Gui scolded, weird, Ying Huazi, I'm sweating you. It's hard for me to scold you. Can I sing the lyrics to Coco's song? Earl Ying said, look at this little thief. I beat the monk after reciting sutras. He won't panic. The hair on my wings has dried up this time. Come here and have a warm mouth with me. So without any explanation, he put his arms around his neck and kissed me. Sister Gui said with a smile, knife-wielding monster, look at the wine spilled on Dad. The Earl said, you little slut. You know how to love Qiao Zhangxi, and you will love the man this time. Look, you spilled the wine on Dad. I call you Dad, not Yan. I am a stepmother. Why don't you call me son? Sister Gui said, I call you my child. The Earl said, come here and I'll tell you a joke. Listen, a crab and a frog became brothers. They bet that they would be the eldest brother if they jumped over the ditch. The frog jumped over a few times. The crab was about to jump when he met two women coming to draw water and tied him with a straw rope. He stopped, fetched water and took it home. He forgot it before leaving and was about to go. Seeing that he didn't come, Frog came over to see him and said, why don't you go over? Crab said, I can go over. It's not like you're so good at being fucked by two little whores. After hearing this, Sister Gui and the two hurriedly beat Simon King, making Simon King laugh. Not to mention the teasing and playing here, Wu Yunyang was the one who brought the wine back to the banquet. And the two of them were celebrating their birthdays in the Yulu. Wu Daguzi, Miss Young and two aunts were all sitting in the upper room. See if Simon King doesn't come home at sunset. Yunyang will be anxious. Jin Lian pulled Li Ping'er and said to Yunyang with a smile, sister, he's not here for us. Let's go to the front of the door to see him. Yunyang said, be patient and see what happens to him. Jin Lian pulled Yulu again. He said, let's go for a walk. The three of us. Yulu said, I'm here to listen to Master tell a joke. When we hear the joke, we'll go. Jin Lian Fang stopped and surrounded the two sisters-in-law. Hearing the joke, he said, Master, if you have one, please tell me quickly. The Aunt Wang sat on the pit and said one. Jin Lian said, this is not good. Let me tell you one more thing. Aunt Wang said again, there are three daughters-in-law in the family celebrating their birthdays with the father-in-law. First, the eldest daughter-in-law handed over the wine and said, my father-in-law seems to be an official. The father-in-law said, how can I resemble an official? My daughter-in-law said, sit on it. Everyone in the family is afraid of you. How can I not behave like an official? The second daughter-in-law came up and handed the wine and said, my father-in-law is like a tiger, powerful. My father-in-law said, how can I be like an official? Who is Oli? The daughter-in-law said, when you drink, everyone in the family will be shocked. Why don't you act like Sayoli? Father-in-law said, I'm right as you said. The third daughter-in-law handed the wine and came up and said, father-in-law, neither does he look like an official, nor does he look like a slave. The father-in-law said, but what does it look like? The daughter-in-law said, the father-in-law looks like a foreign man. The father-in-law said, how can I look like a foreign man? The daughter-in-law said, I don't look like a foreign man. How come they are all present in the 6 houses? Everyone laughed. Jin Lian said, what a bald man. Keep us all inside. How dare that foreigner be so bold? After that, Jin Lian, Yulu and Li Ping'er came to the front gate to see Simon King. Yulu asked, where did his father go in Daxwali today? Jin Lian said, I guess he must have gone to the house of the prostitute Li Geier in the courtyard. Yulu said, we had a fight and vowed not to go there again. How about that? Going again? What are we betting on? His house is not in charge of things. Jin Lian said, Sister Li is testifying. Do you dare to clap with me? I said I went to his house today. I beat the prostitute at her house the day before yesterday. And yesterday, Li Ming Nawangba came to spy first. Today, Yinger and Si were seduced by seducers in the early morning. I guess the old godly woman and the adulteress made a plan and called him. Why don't you accompany me? I have to go back and settle the accounts. I don't know how long I've been pestering you. If someone comes, it won't come. And the eldest sister is just waiting for him. Yulu said, I won't come, the little boy should come too. Come home. Just as he was saying this, he saw a melon seed seller coming over. 2 people were buying melon seeds at the door. Suddenly, Simon King came from the east, and the 3 of them couldn't run back. Simon King was on the horse, and taught Diane to go ahead. Look who is at the front of the gate. Diane took 2 steps and said, "It's Sanyang, Wu Niang and Liu Niang who are buying melon seeds at the front of the gate." Simon King asked Dan to go ahead. When King arrived home, he dismounted and entered the front of the ceremonial gate at the back. Yulu and Li Ping'er went to the upper room to repay Yunyang first. The only golden lotus is hidden in the dark shadow behind the pink wall. When Simon King saw her, he was startled and said, "You little whore, you're so fierce. What are you doing in front of the door?" Jin Lian said, "How dare you say that? Where are you?" "Only now. Come, teach me to wait for you at the door." Simon King entered the room. Yunyang arranged the food and wine, taught the jade flute to hold the pot, and the eldest sister handed the wine. Simon King was handed to Simon King first, and then all the sisters handed it to them and sat down at the banquet. Chumai and Yingchun were playing and singing. After eating once, they all were taken away. The wine for Yulu's birthday was newly put on the table, and 40 kinds of exquisite and various dishes were served. The pot is filled with beautiful wine, and the cup is full of clouds. Let Wu Daguzi sit down. When it was time to wake up, the big girl didn't eat much wine and went back to the back. Only Wu Yunyang and others accompanied Simon King to play dice and guess the orders. When it was Yunyang's turn, Yunyang said, "Since you want me to give orders, drink according to the tiles, 1 tile name, to domino names, which match the phrase West Chamber." Yu Niang said first. 6th Nyangzi the drunken concubine Yang dropped her 8-beaded ring, and Yusir grabbed the tea frame. Unexpectedly, when Simon was celebrating, he said, "My beauty." When she saw Chu and Han fighting, she heard the army of Zhengma. She only heard the golden drums in her ears and the sky shook. It turned out to be a Zhengma Jun, and she had a drink. It was Li Zhaoer who said, "The water fairy," because 2 people entered the peach garden, scattered the flowers and butterflies on the branches, and only made the ground red and rouge cold. "I didn't meet her. The next time it was time to throw the golden lotus," he said, Balaur. When he was old, he went into the flowers and broke the 3 cardinal principles and 5 constant principles. Ask him if he can be a thief and take it. Sure enough, it was the 3 cardinal principles and 5 constant principles. He ate a cup. It was Li Ping'er's turn to throw the ball, and he said, "It's good to take the ladder and look at the moon. When the day and night stop at the spring equinox, the wall will turn into Wangfu Mountain at that time." "I didn't meet him," Sun Zue said. "Ma Langer, I saw a group of crows beating a phoenix and tripping a broken-footed goose. So you can teach me the difficulties of being a human being." "I didn't meet him." After finishing the order, the Jade Tower said, "Naya Nujiao, drunk and holding the 4 red sinks, dragging the brocade skirt. How many spring breezes and moonlight sell the gold account? Just throw the 4 red sinks." After Yunyang finished her order, she called Xiao Yu and said, "Pour some wine with your 3 mothers." She said, "It's best if you have 3 big cups. You should spend the night with the groom tonight." So she said to Li Ping'er and Jin Lian, after dinner, "Let's send the 2 of them back to their rooms." Jin Lian said, "How dare you disobey my sister's strict order?" Yulu was so embarrassed. After a short while of wine, Yunyang and others escorted Simon King back to the head of the Jade Building. The Jade Tower asked everyone to sit down, but none of them sat down. Jin Lian then teased Yulu and said, "My son, just have a good sleep. Your mother will come to see you tomorrow. Don't be naughty," because she said to Yunyang, "My dear, my child is young. For my sake, please be patient." Yulu said, "Liu girl, you old rice vinegar. Let's make it next to each other. I will answer your question tomorrow." Jin Lian said, "My matchmaker went upstairs. I am very patient and can't stand being frightened." So she and Li Ping'er, sister Simon, went all the way. As soon as he reached the front of Yemen, Li Ping'er slipped on the ground. The golden lotus was so strange that Kiao cried out, "This sister Li is just like a blind person. She falls down in a blink of an eye. You go ahead and step on my foot in the snow, knocking someone's shoe off. You're kicking in the mud too." Yunyang heard this and said, "It's the pile of snow at the head of Yemen. I told the boy twice that he was a thief, but he refused to lift it and just pretended that it had slipped." Because she called Xiao Yu. You take a lantern and send it to Wu Niang and Liu Niang. Simon King said to Yu Lu in the room. Look at this little thief. He kicked in the mud and tripped someone up. He also said that someone kicked him, his shoes were muddy, and he didn't have any words to wipe them with. What a little whore. Yesterday, he asked the girls to sing Good Day Reunion for nothing, so I guessed it was his business. Yulu said, what do you mean by reunion at a good time? Simon King said, he said that the Wu family's meeting was not a formal meeting, but a private meeting. It was like burning night incense and waiting for me. Yulu said, sixth sister, everyone knows all kinds of songs, but we don't know. Simon King said, you don't know. This whore can only bite everyone. Not to mention that Simon King stayed in the Jade Building. Shanta Panjinlian and Li Pinger walked and talked. When they reached Yemen, the eldest sister returned to the front room. Xiao Yu held up a lantern and sent the two of them to the garden. Jin Lian was already half drunk, so she pulled Li Pinger and said, for Niang, I have some wine today. You can bring it to my room. Li Pinger said, sister, you are not drunk. After a while, he sent it to Jin Lian. Inside the room, he sent Xiao Yu back and left Li Pinger to sit and have tea. Jin Lian said again, you said that we couldn't come. Who did you lose? Who would have thought that our sisters would walk on a springboard today and bear so many mistakes for you, so that others don't talk about me behind your back? I'm just being kind. God only knows. Li Pinger said, I know that my sister has troubled me so much that my kindness should be repaid, so I don't dare to forget it. Jin Lian said, you know. That's all. After a while, Chun Mai brought tea to eat. Li Pinger said goodbye and returned to her room. Jin Lian spends the night alone. Nothing to worry about. Exactly, the moon in the tall building in the empty courtyard is no longer 3 or 5 circles. Why bother sleeping in a bed alone?
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.